So this is, obviously this is 2018, right? Roden beats Phil Heath, okay? I was in Vegas when this happened, and I spoke to, Phil and I had a conversation for a couple hours together. And we look at this, and you read a lot of news afterwards, and you're saying, well, that was really Phil. Phil should have won it. How could Roden win with no triceps? He didn't have any triceps. Is it possible to win without triceps? Well, maybe yes, because there's been other people in the past that have won without biceps, so what's the big deal? Who did you think in 18 should have won Mr. Olympia?
Sean.
Oh, really?
You know, why?
Midsection?
Not just midsection. He won it mentally.
Oh, he won it mentally?
Yeah, he did.
Elaborate.
He won it mentally. You could see it. Like, I was there competitively. You know, Phil was at I was watching Phil the whole time, analyzing him. And he was just trying to prove he had improved where people were criticizing his midsection. And that was really his focus. We noticed that, you know, he came a little bit downsized from the year before. And as things played out, I just sensed Phil was laboring and working way harder than he should have been.
Interesting perspective.
On stage. It was just like not the typical polished Phil that I don't know what he was struggling with, but I've seen Dexter Jackson do that at the Arnold that year as well. And but I seen Phil doing it, and he was just struggling and holding poses, everything, and just, you know, really in presentation at that point, you know, Sean took advantage of that and kind of like embarrassed him. You wouldn't be able to see that by pictures. Pictures don't tell you that story.
You're talking about the part where he stands up and he pauses and he looks. That's
one of the major examples, yeah. But it was happening during the whole comparison rounds. Phil laboring, Phil getting into poses slow. You know, Sean just basically showing more stage polish than him and showing that he mentally was I guess ready for the title at that point. Yeah, I know Sean has holes in his physiques, but you know none of us are perfect. But I think when it came to him being judged and compared to Phil, the judges saw that interaction on stage. They saw that dynamic, and they saw Phil kind of his confidence fade.
And you can judge the champion on that?
It's all mental, man.
But what I'm saying is the judgment part.
Yeah, well, the judgment part. What's going on in your head, I think, can reflect to what the judges see of you on stage.
So you would like to see a full lineup 2020. So if Phil is watching this, Kai's watching this, if all these guys are watching it, you would like to see a full lineup next year to see how it's going to turn out.
Everybody would like to see a full lineup. I would be motivated out of my mind if I knew I was going to be up against a full lineup. That was set my preparation off for 2020. Me and my coach, we got a lot to prove, man. A lot of people are talking, and we love it. It motivates us to get better. And that's what this sport is all about, is getting better. So with that opportunity, I'm going to try to get better regardless, but you know, certain things fire you up. And that's just one of those things as an athlete that will fire me up.
I look at your deal, man. I look at your physique. Like, again, like when I show this to Dorian, I'm like, dude, this is crazy to me. But if all of these guys come back to want to compete, all of them, what do you're technical, I don't see it from your lens. I'm not looking at it from your lens. How much more can you improve to beat these guys next year, though? Because
well, let's put it this way. I'm honest with this. My conditioning was better earlier this year at the Arnold. I did have a little bit more size for this show. Me bringing the conditioning that I have for the Arnold, which is one show, prepping for one show. I'm always, it's always easier to prep for one show than.
That's right.
Than multiple shows, especially if the shows, let's say I have to start all over again with my preparation again. If the shows are close, it's like you just kind of stay in range. But once you have to prep, shut it down, start all over again, the body may act a little different, a little resistant. That's why so few people have won the Arnold and the Olympia in the same year. It's just harder to do.
That's why there's respect, though,
right.
to do that.
It's just harder to do. So I just know if this one show coming into Olympia, conditioning will not be the factor. I'll be super crisp,
You're
fresh.
not doing Arnold this year?
No, I'm not doing Arnold.
Okay.
So I'll be super fresh.
Got it.
You know, my body will not be stressed from any other competitions, and I'll be ready, definitely ready to go. And with the improvements I've been making from year to year, I'm kind of in the prime, what they call the prime right now. The improvements are, for me, I feel are inevitable. As long as I keep working hard, putting my work in, the improvements in quality are inevitable. So you know what I'm saying? I know I'm dangerous no matter who comes back. These guys, they got to come back at their best, and you know that's not easy.
So if they come at their best and you come at your best, I'm talking no Arnold Classic. You're not. Phil's not going to do Arnold Classic if he comes back. If he comes back, and all these guys come back with no Arnold Classic, hypothetically. Do you think you can beat these guys and win it again next year, 2020? Because that's a big one. Mr. Olympia 2020 will be remembered.
I would not desire this if I didn't think I could win.
Okay, all right.
I want the challenge. I want the respect, and I want the responsibility.
I respect that a lot.
Doing it. Yeah. That's what I want.
I respect that a lot. I know you went from 2011 you were 8th, 17 you were 8th, 18 you were 5th, and in 19 you were 1st, and you went up against William, Chopin, Dexter. Dexter 4th place at 49 years old. To me, it's just insane to look like that at 49 years old. And I used to follow this guy 20 years ago. Like, you know, so let's get to our buddy's question here. Now, one of the things I'd want to spend some time on is a little bit, you know, the whole thing about, you get this in sports, which is like, we know our era of bodybuilders were better than your era of bodybuilders, right? I mean, it's normal. Sometimes it's pride for the older generation to say, you know, I think we are at a better place than yours. But, you know, you look at this, and Dorian, I respect him a lot, but when you look at these two, what do you notice from the 90s to today? I mean, this is obviously where you were competing versus when these guys were competing. What's the biggest difference?
Well, the biggest difference from what you see today is today you'll see literally every photo from a show, unedited, raw. Back then, every photo you saw was out of a magazine, chosen, edited.
That's a very good point.
You know what I mean?
That's a very good point.
For marketing purposes.
Yeah, very good point.
So you can't really, social media has changed the game on how you can even compare the two, to be honest. And photography is way different. You know, they didn't have high definition cameras and, you know, 4K and all that kind of stuff back in the day. You know, they even the way they lit the stages were different. It's just a completely different animal when you try to compare the two. But I'm just happy Dorian can be critiquing me. That's an opportunity. It's a champion like him critiquing me. That's just mad respect, and it shows me exactly why he won so many championships. It shows he's still competitive.
Yeah, that's the part about it. Can you imagine? So I want to play this to you. What he said. Obviously, you've seen this. I want to play this to you, and then I want to read your response. And I'm curious to know what you're going to say when, you know, what you're thinking when you hear him talk about this. Here's what he said.
You were at Mr. Olympia this last one that you went.
How did you feel about the whole contest? I mean, obviously Brandon Curry won. What did you think about Brandon Curry as a physique, as a winner?
Well, I mean, I respect all the guys up there. They're all doing their best. But if I'm to be honest, and that's pretty much normally what I am, I feel the standard of the Mr. Olympia is not what it used to be. The whole thing's diversified. You've got all these different categories and classes and everything, but the Mr. Olympia, the pure bodybuilding itself, you had 3 guys there that were, you know, I guess they were pretty close. There was 2 guys in what I would say pretty good shape. You know, they were in good shape, but they're quite small.
Who were the 2 guys?
Yeah, William Bonac.
Okay, second place.
And a guy from Iran.
Hadid Chopin.
Yeah, couldn't pronounce his name. Very good and in good shape, but they're smaller guys. They're smaller guys, and so Brandon won it, I believe, because he got more stature. He's bigger. He looks more like a Mr. Olympia, but he wasn't in incredible shape. So I think it was probably one of the weaker Mr. Olympias that we've seen.
What do you look at when you look at this? I'm curious, like your eyes.
Yeah.
Where does it go first, and then where does it go? Because when I look, you know, the average person looks at it, it's like, oh my gosh, this guy's a beast. What do you look at?
Well, he's got very good fullness, good roundness to the muscles, and no really noticeable weak points in that pose. But he's lacking deep separation and conditioning that used to be the norm in the Mr. Olympia.
The conditioning part.
Yeah, the conditioning is,
and that was
is
a big
what's
difference
lacking
between
these days.
you and Kevin Levrone as well. Would you agree with that? Where some of the times he would show up pretty full,
Yeah,
but he wasn't
yeah.
as...
Kevin had a great
this,
physique,
right?
but he wasn't consistent.
You know, Brandon, your response that came out, and I read, I'm like the classiest response you could have given, right? I'm reading this, it says, so in a nutshell, it's Dorian being Dorian. Nobody did it harder, stricter, and as hardcore as Dorian. We got one legendary video to prove it. he can have that. I'll just inarguably give it to him. He needs that. It's his legacy. So, of course, bodybuilders didn't work as hard as he did. Hell yeah, we may rely more on technology or PED. So this makes his way and his era better. Simple as that. You know why? He says so. And some others would agree with them. We know his way made him a champion, and some may say the most badass, hardest working blue collar and grain bodybuilder that's ever lived. He can have that, but this guy right here, referring to himself, is completely different, and I'm totally cool with it. I got to watch a video just the other day that put Dorian's 1993 versus 2019 براندون head to head, and for pose. I love the comparison, and I'm happy to be just who I am as well. I'm sure he can attest to how not winning your first Mr. Olympia at 100% on a vacated title makes you more dangerous if you do improve and continue. But your trainer had a completely different, by the way, this is pure class. Like, you can do a class on how to respond to your competitors. When I read this, I'm like, Brandon could run for office, man, the way he responded, right? But your trainer took a different approach. I don't know if you read his approach.
I didn't read it, but I know my trainer.
Yeah, so Abdul Alotabi says, continue smoking that shit you're smoking, waiting for your response. Oh, never mind, you're irrelevant. That's what he says, your trainer. Now, what are your thoughts the first time you saw this and you hear him saying that?
Well,